Good morning. This is day 4 of the Prosperity from the Inside Out class. The statement of principle from today is, through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. So let's take this into meditation. Find that comfortable sitting position and allow your eyes to close. And take that full conscious breath in, bringing that aliveness of spirit into your body. And then relax. Relax and just settle into that peace within, that inner self. And as you continue to relax, I'll reread the statement at this level of mind. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Let's take another deep breath in just to bring that awareness into our being. As we settle into that knowing, this unfolding awareness that we're doing in this process. And this says, through my consciousness of my God self, that Christ within, as my source. Boy, that's a mouthful right there. We just recognize we have that become conscious of that inner presence, that presence that creates all of life, that presence that guides all of life, that presence that sustains all of life. That presence is in you as the God self, the Christ within. That is the source. So the very source that creates all of life is a source inside each one of us. Just breathe into that and contemplate that for a few moments. Becoming aware that that very presence is the God self within you. Ask yourself to begin to sense that God self. Sense that expansive energy, that Christ within. Sense that in your mind. Sense that in your heart. And so continuing with that God self within, that increased consciousness of the God self within, the rest of the sentence says, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. I draw into my mind and feeling nature. So that presence that creates all of life, that presence that is, when you look at a beautiful butterfly, that presence is right there. When you look at a field of crops, that presence is right there. Draw that into your mind and feeling nature. into your mind and feeling nature, expanding it and feeling it in just being aware that this presence is in every single cell, every single organ in the body, every single system that makes up the body. That presence is right here, right inside. And that presence is the very source that sources all of life. It's in you. This substance is my supply. So begin to become conscious of the fact that where that God presence is lies the source for everything that you ever need, want, and desire. That presence is the substance, is the supply. There is no distinction. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Simply stating, having the consciousness that the presence of God is within you, that very awareness is the very supply for everything you desire. So become aware of that presence throughout the day. Feel that presence as you feel your heart awareness. Take a moment and feel that presence. Be conscious of that presence in your mental activity throughout the day. Become aware. This is the source of that saying I first heard from Deepak Chopra. In the seed of the idea lies all the resources to implement that idea. So that God self within, that God self that is our very true nature, provides the ideas. And in that moment, all the resources are also provided. The more conscious we are of that God self within. So take a moment to think of an idea you have for your life, something you want to achieve or accomplish, and look at that idea with fresh eyes, with this consciousness and awareness, the God self within. Look at that idea. See it maybe like a seed. And imagine that seed expanding so that you can look inside of it. And inside of that seed, you can see the idea. You can see the people necessary. You can see the resources necessary to supply the idea. It's all right here within you. Mm. That is something to be grateful for. That is how life is designed. So, with this increased consciousness of the Christ within as my source, shift into that gratitude that this is the way life is created. See yourself shifting into this increased consciousness. What else are you grateful for in your life? And in your gratitude journal today, the thing to give gratitude for are challenges that brought richness to my life. Recall and be grateful for some of those challenges that may have seemed insurmountable at the time. But look at what it brought you, the richness, the increased richness, the increased consciousness in your life. With this increased consciousness, if there is a challenge in your life now, recognize how it's going to bring richness to your life, and to move through it, increase your consciousness of the God Self within you as your supply. This presence, the consciousness of this presence, is what will lift you and guide you through any challenge in life, just like it will lift you and guide you through any achievement you desire. So throughout today, take moments every few hours. Take moments to recognize that consciousness of the God Self within you, and see how it is feeding you right now where you are. God meets us at our point of consciousness. Increase that consciousness of the God Self, and you're more aware of your supply and the love that guides this universe. So I'll leave those who want to stay into this meditative state as I wrap up this phone call. Stay in that state as long as you want to this morning, and see it in every challenge in your life. See it in every achievement you desire in life. And just increase that consciousness by taking moments throughout the day to recognize that the very Christ consciousness, the God self, is within you every single moment of your life. And have a